Third reading, House File 30, a bill for an act relating to public safety, establishing requirements for the purchase of catalytic converters, etc.
Third reading, Senator Klein.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. And thank you, Senator Marty, for bringing forward the bill, not just this year, but in the previous three cycles, wherein Minnesotans were plagued by catalytic converter theft. Our neighbors, our friends, our children. I think we've reviewed that we've become third in the nation. We've sat by as a legislature for the last 3 years that you've offered this bill and become third in the nation, highest catalytic converter theft. Average cost of one of these things is $2,600. Some of our neighbors, including my own family, have had this done to them repeatedly. So that means they incur a single expense of $2,600 and then additional expenses of the same amount. And they've been asking why the legislature has done nothing for years, and today we are doing something. We've heard a lot of amendments from the minority party and angry speeches about how we're not being hard enough on criminals and we're not going after the people with the saws and so forth. You know what's less effective than doing this is doing nothing at all, which is what has been happening for the last 3 years in this chamber. So today we are doing something. We're going to prevent inconvenience and costs from being incurred to Minnesotans, and we are going to deliver on the consumer protections that we should have been doing all along. Thank you, Senator Marty. Vote green.
Senator Carlson.
That's our guy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've been sitting here and listening to this for a long time and getting more and more disturbed about the inaction that is being promoted by the other party. I spent some time with my police chief this morning on the phone, and he is outraged that we're doing nothing. He has come to the Capitol and has testified for this bill in the past, and actually it was last year when it wouldn't be heard in the Senate. But what he says is, why are you not doing something? All law enforcement is behind this bill. And I asked him, okay, what do you do when you find a catalytic converter in somebody's car? And he said, actually nothing. We can't charge them with anything because we can't connect that catalytic converter to a theft and to a car. Senator Marty's bill will do exactly that. A police officer, if they see a catalytic converter or if they suspect one and open the trunk and find them because they found a saw in the car, they can charge that person. They can take possession of that converter because the VIN number will go right back to the car that it came from, and they can do it on their telephone, or they can call in that VIN number and get that connection. And when you look at the numbers of catalytic converters that are being stolen, they're going up. And what's happening, because we're not doing anything, is that a black market is being developed where you can, if you are inclined to do so, you can steal a catalytic converter and then you can sell it to a black market installer to put it on another car. And nobody is going to be going underneath your car to find out if it had a VIN number on it. So the only time you're going to be able to connect that VIN number to a car is when it's in the possession of the thief or of the fence that takes over on it. So this is an excellent bill. It will make a big difference right away. And now there are other things that we need to consider, and that is that wealthy people buy cars that have dual exhausts. So that means there's 2 catalytic converters on there. So it doubles the cost. But generally, they will have comprehensive insurance that covers it. People that don't have that kind of income, they're the ones that are going to suffer the most because there is no way for them to afford the thousands of dollars to replace that stolen converter. And my chief said to me, this is just on my radar because yesterday in Central Egan at the TJ Maxx, a woman came out from the store and her catalytic converter was stolen right in the parking lot, right during the day. So this is happening far too much and we need to do something about it. So I strongly support law enforcement I strongly support their seeing that this is going to make a big difference in catalytic converter thieves being caught and being prosecuted. So thank you, Senator Marty, and I urge a green vote.
Senator Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand in support of this bill. I think it's appalling that this has not gotten a hearing until now with 3 years. So I applaud Senator Marty for championing this over that period of time. I'm standing because I am a victim of catalytic converter theft. From the secure parking lot of the KSTP TV studios while I was parked in front of the security area. That is how fast and efficient these people are, in and out in 5 minutes. And when the police came, they said the same thing we've already heard. Because of the current laws, there's pretty much nothing you can do. We've talked a lot about the cost, even if you have insurance. Mine was still $200. But there's also a very personal cost to this. I was about to leave the next day for the memorial of an aunt who had just died. So I already had all of that going on, and then on top of it, I didn't have a car to drive up north. It happened to a friend of mine in their parking lot in the middle of the day while they were in the backyard. It happened so fast. Imagine the security of being home in your own yard and having this happen. So I think not just because of the economic cost, but also to all of the people who have been victims of this and in the intrusion in their life, it is time to get this done. So thank you again, Senator Marty, for your perseverance in this, and I hope everyone else votes green. Thank you.
Senator Lucero.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I'm wondering if the chief author would yield for 1 or 2 questions.
Marty, will you yield? Senator Marty? Senator Marty will yield. Senator Lucero.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator Marty. So when I'm looking at the bill here, I see obviously multiple references to the term catalytic converter. Having spoke to multiple other people, including scrap dealers, I asked the question, what is it about the catalytic converter that makes it a prime target for these crimes that are being committed? And the answers I've received are it's not the outside, it's not the casing, it's the inside. It's the metals on the inside that are valuable and are what the target is. And so when I'm looking at this language, I see catalytic converter, I see on line page 6, I see the requirements to provide inscriptions and it has to be marked. My question, Mr. President and Senator Marty, is if this language becomes law, I'm pretty on solid ground believe that these criminals are simply going to remove the outer casing where the inscription, the markings are going to take place. And so because it's the inside, the metals that are what matter, what's going to happen when they just simply go through the extra few second step to remove the outer casing? What do we do, and how does your bill address the metals part of it?
Senator Marty, to the question.
Mr. Chair, Mr. President, Senator Lucero, you know, if somebody's going to steal one of these and if they can get it to their home and then they can get in the workshop and take it all apart and do that, yes, they might get away with it. Right now, they don't even have to do that. They just take it in and fence it. We make it a little more difficult for them. I think we're going to stop a lot of them because, frankly, not everybody has the workshop and capability of taking it apart and getting out the precious metals. But you're right. It's only the precious metal. That's the only reason people want them. This bill makes a good attempt to stop that, and I think that's why we have such strong support from law enforcement, auto theft investigators. Urge your support.
Senator Lucero.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, and that's, I guess, the heart of the concerns we've heard expressed here by Republicans as we've been debating this bill. It's frustrating to hear that nothing has been done, so we want to do something, and something's better than nothing, and therefore let's pass this bill. But the reality is, Mr. President, as very well articulated by members both yesterday or 2 days ago and today, or whenever the first one brought the bill up, Droskowski referenced the Sawzall and the criminals. And they're very, very cunning, and they will go through whatever means. Unfortunately, those that are committed to harming others, those that are committed to committing these acts, they're going to find a very quick way to remove the casing and remove the metals. And so what, Mr. President and members, that's what Republicans have been focusing on, is we need to target the criminals, not put additional burdens on scrap metal dealers, because the criminals will simply be able to evade the language of this bill by removing the metals. So you have a Sawzall, and as we've heard, and as we know, we've heard on the floor, as we've heard in news accounts, it's a few minutes, it's less than 5 minutes. I've heard it's 30 seconds. Sawzall's cutting two ends of the exhaust pipe, and there you go. Taking that same Sawzall, cutting the outer casing, and then removing the metals is a few extra seconds. It doesn't require a workshop. It doesn't require having to go to your house and more extravagant tools. And that's where this bill falls short, Mr. President. We need to focus on the criminals. Now, the metals, I also asked the question to the scrapyard dealers, what is the form that these metals take? And the answer I was given is that it could be a sand, so really fine particles, or it could be larger chunks, more like rocks, small stones or pebbles. And in either of those cases, if the outer casing is removed, and all we have in the backs of people's cars or their trunks are a Sawzall and then maybe a 5-gallon bucket of what appears to be pebbles or stones, we haven't solved anything. We haven't empowered law enforcement to be able to go after. All the criminals are going to do is move one additional step to evade capture. And so that's why adding the additional burdens, unfortunately, isn't going to help the victims of these criminals. So, Mr. President, thank you so much. I do appreciate the debate, but again, this bill does fall short of where we need to be.
Senator Matthews.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also urge members to vote no on this bill, and frankly, the arguments that have been made on how there's been inaction for the last 3 years proved that we didn't care and didn't want to do anything about it is just simply ludicrous. The Republican solution has been very thoroughly put forward in the last few years, including retaining more police officers, recruiting more police officers. Members, in the last few years, under Democrat policies, we've had one of the largest eras of lawlessness and crime that I have experienced in my lifetime. And the Republican solution was to go after the criminals committing the actions that harmed victims and harmed citizens in our communities. And Republicans don't have to wait for election season to support law enforcement. We do that every day of the week, year-round, to support the officers that uphold and enforce the law fairly and justly, and to help keep our communities safe. Instead, what we have before us is not a tough-on-crime bill. It is a very weak-on-crime bill. It is not doing anything to shed the reputation that you've developed of being very soft on crime. This bill will do more for putting burdens on law-abiding citizens than it will for actual criminals that still have the capability to sneak in, cut a converter off your vehicle, get back out in just a couple minutes' notice. Mr. President, if people on this floor like me, law-abiding citizens, can easily figure out ways that criminals are going to get around this bill and continue their lawless actions, then you can be darn well sure that the criminals that think even smarter on how to get around the law are going to easily find ways to get around this law. They'll take it out of state, they'll cut off outer casings, they'll take it to places that they know that they can get the top dollar for. The Republican solution was to go after the criminals, and the Democrat solution was to go after law-abiding citizens and the businesses. And unfortunately, that's been an all too common theme, not only on this issue, but a number of others. So I'm not supporting this bill today because just saying that doing something is better than nothing is not always the case. Doing something could end up being worse than the position that you're in today. And passing this bill will make it far less likely that we take up in session things to direct. We voted down amendments to this bill that would direct more resources to law enforcement officials for better coordination, for better planning, for better crackdowns and sting operations to go after the guys with the sawzalls. We had those amendments here today, Mr. President, and the majority voted no. It is ludicrous to claim that this is a bill being tough on crime when it's doing more against law-abiding citizens than it is criminals. Just as it would be ludicrous if you were a store owner and were victim to crimes, people robbing or stealing items out of your store, if the government then showed up to you, the store owner, to crack down on you, that would be ludicrous. If you're a homeowner and your home is broken into and people rob you and steal items out of your home, and the government comes and cracks down on you, the homeowner, that would be ludicrous. That's what this underlying bill is doing. It is not doing hardly anything to go after the criminals committing the acts, but it's going to do a whole lot against the law-abiding citizens that will have extra steps to jump through if they have a legitimate converter that they're trying to recycle. And it will not create a robust system at all. It will create a very easy system for criminals to continue to go around, to continue stealing converters off of vehicles, and to continue making this a profitable criminal enterprise. I urge members to vote no on this bill, and to members of the majority, I've been hoping for a while that you would shed your persona of being soft on crime, and you actually have a chance to do that by voting no on this bill. We do need to do better on getting tough on crime, dealing with the actual criminals that commit the act, instead of doing more that hinders law-abiding citizens. Members, I urge you to reject this bill before you.
Senator Gustafson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Catalytic converter theft is a serious problem in our communities. Our local police departments and county sheriffs have been telling us for years that this is an issue. In fact, Minnesota has one of the highest theft rates of catalytic converters in the nation. Yesterday, in the Vadnais Heights Press, a victim reported a catalytic converter stolen from their vehicle, estimated loss of $1,200. A local small business reported catalytic converters were stolen from 2 company pickup trucks. The legislature of the past has done nothing, and I'm proud to be part of the majority that doesn't use public safety as a slogan. There is a plan and public safety dollars to go with it. As someone who prioritizes public safety and support for my local law enforcement, and support for my police, I stand in support of this bill, and I urge a green vote. Thank you.
Senator Westrom.
Mr. President, members, I rise to urge you to vote no on this bill, and let's do a bill that would actually stop catalytic converter theft and go after the thieves rather than make more criminals out of small, hardworking business owners in Minnesota, which is what this bill is aimed at. Senator Matthews made a good analogy. It'd be like going after the store clerk because somebody's going in and robbing stuff off his or her store shelf. That's ludicrous. Let's go after the thieves with the sawzalls that are crawling under unsuspecting car owners, ripping off their catalytic converter inside of minutes, and then getting away. So, Senator Marty, your bill falls short because Senator Lucero just talked to us about how fast somebody will be able to skirt this if they want to spend a few extra minutes cutting open the catalytic converter and taking out the valuable parts, and then they'll leave the rest behind, scrap on the ground. And no scrap dealer is going to want to own a catalytic converter or have it on presence on the chance that they're going to become a new felon. And then they get to employ the legal services of an attorney and spend thousands of dollars trying to defend themselves against the state of Minnesota that they also have to pay to prosecute them because they're taxpayers. How ludicrous is that? But Senator Lucero, there's an easier way around this. Senator Marty, there's a gaping hole in this bill. I happen to represent a district that borders South Dakota. Senator Marty, the thieves are going to go to Wisconsin, go to South Dakota, go to North Dakota, Iowa, and take this scrap out of the state, so the business owners that have a scrap business won't even be able to process much of this now. They'll get away with it because they'll just go get their cash right across the border. We're standing here in St. Paul. Wisconsin's less than a half hour to the east. And when they come back, they can bring their fireworks that they can buy there that they can't buy in Minnesota to boot. That's how ridiculous this bill is, Senator Marty. You're going after the wrong person. Go after the thieves. Don't make more criminals out of hardworking Minnesotans. And that's what's wrong with this bill. Putting more burden on scrap metal recyclers. As I said yesterday, many of them are part-time. They do this on the side in an evening, or maybe it's the way they get started, and 10 years later they've got enough business that they can go full-time being a scrap recycler. But there's all sizes. This is an easy business for many people in rural Minnesota to pick up, add some family income, do it without having to have a lot of degrees or registrations or licenses from the state. We even tried to have to add registrations to them yesterday to make it even harder to be a small business scrap recycler. And yet, on the other hand, we want to encourage people to do more recycling. Yet now we're going to make it harder and make the scrap recycler a criminal. Let's start over. Let's go after the thieves. Let's toughen the penalties. Let's make them the felons. If they take one catalytic converter off, Senator Marty, let's start by making that a felony. And then let's pinch these guys a little bit, and gals, whoever's doing it, and make it hurt so they don't think about stealing a second and a third catalytic converter. And Mr. President, let me conclude by letting the members know why I say we have to stop the thieves and make the penalty hurt enough that they quit. Last week, I was downtown with a couple of us that went for lunch. And afterwards, somebody that used to work around this Capitol area stopped me, somebody I knew, and was telling me about their recent experience for his wife, who was carjacked in the last 12 months by one of these thieves that are being handled with kid gloves. They had held a gun to his wife's head, carjacked her, didn't just take the catalytic converter off, but took the whole car. Find out that the person that did that had a rap sheet of over 15 different crimes on their rap sheet. We're not going after the criminals, folks. We got to stop this. Why should somebody have 15 different crimes on their record and still be out on the street so they can hold a gun to an innocent person's head and steal their car? This is just as foolhardy as that. So let's go after the criminal. Let's not make more criminals out of small business men and women across Minnesota. Members, let's vote no, and let's go after what will really stop the thieves. That's making the penalties hurt so they don't do it twice.
Senator Seeberger.
Thank you, Mr. President. For at least 3 years, Senator Marty has been working on this bill, but we haven't seen it move forward, which means that Minnesotans have continued to be plagued by catalytic converter theft, and law enforcement's hands have remained tied. It's important to remember that the average cost to replace a catalytic converter is $2,600, excluding the time and hassle involved, and affecting Minnesotans' real ability to go to work, take care of their kids, bring their kids to school, and live their lives. The Commerce Committee made this bill a priority, and I'm proud to have been a part of that discussion. This bill is important to my district, it's important to law enforcement, and it's important to me. I commend Senator Marty for championing this bill, and I will be proud to vote yes for these important protections for Minnesotans.
Members, we are now going to Senator Pratt. Oh, you want to be on the list? Okay, some others. Okay, sorry about that. All right, I have to put you back on the list. Sorry. Senator Pratt.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate Senator Marty bringing this bill forward. I know this has been a passion of his for a long time. I'm really disappointed, Mr. President, in the rhetoric of the majority in discussing Republican motives and Republican members and accusing them of stalling this bill. The amendments that we put forward were in good faith. They were focused on the actions of the criminals and not hurting our locally owned law-abiding businesses and impacting law-abiding citizens. This bill will put these locally owned businesses at a competitive disadvantage to our neighbors across the border. Now, I agree with what was said. Catalytic converter theft is rampant. We are among one of the highest thefts in the country. But by focusing on the small businesses and not putting more effort into stopping the initial crime itself, will have no effect. The premise that we need to do something, anything, is what we're being told. I would disagree. If we are going to harm law-abiding citizens, then we, without stopping the initial crime, then maybe nothing is the better route to go. And let's refocus our efforts on those who are actually stealing them, because, Mr. President, moving these to Wisconsin, to Iowa, to South Dakota, to North Dakota is of little inconvenience for people who are doing this crime. So, members, I'm voting no because, in my opinion, this bill will do nothing to deter theft. Thieves will simply go to neighboring states. Now, we may feel good that we took action, but let's be honest. Let's just be honest that this will have very little real impact to the thefts. And, Mr. President, I do want to comment again on being disappointed at the tone of the majority and the accusations of having bad faith and detrimental motives and towards this bill. It's hurting our debate not only in the chamber, but I think it's damaging the culture of this body. We need to treat each other with more respect than that, Mr. President, and I think we look to you to make sure that that happens. Thank you.
Members, I just want to remind you of something, that if we don't wrap this bill up within 10 minutes, that's not to say that you can't speak, then we'll have to come back at 5:15, okay? I just want you to know, because I'm trying to give you all the time that you need, but I want you to be aware of that. Senator Jaskowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, we have before us a bill that is wrong-headed in its direction. I've been looking in the bill and trying to find where the focus on the theft is. The problem members are trying to address is theft of catalytic converters. So wouldn't you think about who is doing the stealing if you're doing a bill around theft of catalytic converters? And, you know, I understand the police want to have some sort of way or conduit or path to do something. You know, just something to do something. And the proposal before us attempts to do something while the thief is out there with the sawzall whacking off the catalytic converter off of someone else's vehicle. The police are running around trying to take it out on the business. That's what we have in the bill, Mr. President. While somebody is sawing off the catalytic converter with a sawzall, the police are at the business trying to stop the crime. Mr. President, it doesn't add up. This bill is nothing more than a legislative rope-a-dope. That's what we have before us. While this is going on over here, we're going to send the cops over here. Something is wrong with this picture. We're just simply putting forward a bill that is going to be useless, it's going to be counterproductive, and instead of bringing consequences to the guy with the sawzall, we're bringing extra burden and unduly consequences and punishment to law-abiding businesses in the state of Minnesota. This is a legislative rope-a-dope. The people of Minnesota got to know that the majority that's bringing this bill think they're going to put that out there and say, Minnesotans, this is going to solve the problem. Well, the problem is going to be going on still over here. The bill fails to do something about the guy with the sawzall. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Housley.
Thank you, Mr. President. The longer I sat here and listened to members speak to this bill, my blood kept boiling further and further. I can't believe it has been said repeatedly on the Senate floor that the Republicans didn't take the issue of the catalytic converter theft seriously, and that hasn't been addressed for 3 years. That is absolutely not true. Many new members weren't here. They could do a simple bill search. I had a bill. In 2020, I too had my catalytic converter stolen right there in the parking lot of a big box store in the middle of the daytime. Even got the guy on video, and within 30 seconds, my catalytic converter is gone. $2,000 later, and a lot of hassle, got it back, and I said, this needs to be addressed. Wasn't just a bill, it was a bipartisan bill. So what I did is I reached out to all of the stakeholders to get input. I met with the affected parties. I met with law enforcement at every level. I even visited a scrapyard in West St. Paul and toured the facility to actually see how the day-to-day business works when a catalytic converter comes in. And they go through a lot of steps of getting the driver's license, signing in, the video. There's already tons of government mandates on these scrap dealers. And then we worked on language, and we came out with a bipartisan solution that worked. So I really, really take exception to the claim that the previous Senate didn't address this issue seriously. I can tell you, members, we took it very, very seriously, and we did something about it. The only reason it didn't advance is because the previous House did not want to pass a bill that would include penalties for the actual criminals cutting off the catalytic converters. So I didn't give up. I was like, all right, they don't want to do that. Let's try something else. So in 2022, look it up, members. We addressed it. Bill search catalytic. I had another bill for a program to develop a database to track catalytic converters. And it passed. And the Department of Commerce even testified that in the Senate Commerce Committee, that this pilot project is effectively deterring theft. So, Mr. President and members, to set the record straight, We did take this issue very seriously, and I don't appreciate members saying anything to the contrary. We had a solution that would work by cracking down on the criminals, which is where the issue lies. Mr. President, I'm very sorry to say that we have become third in the nation under this administration's lax attitude towards crime. Thank you.
Senator Dames.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'll try to make this short, but bear with me a little bit here. First of all, this bill is not going to fix the problem. This is one of those feel-good bills that you folks that are voting for this can go back to your districts and say how much you've done when you've done nothing. To the freshmen here that talked about how we've done nothing for 3 years, you're freshmen, so I'm not going to put you in the spot and ask you about the bill that Senator Housley just talked about and ask you what was in that bill. I'm not going to talk about the other bill Senator Housley talked about and ask you freshmen why that bill didn't get passed in the House. Because you weren't here and you don't know. But take a little advice. Your word's the only thing you've got. So make sure when you start accusing people of something, you know that your facts are correct. And for you members that aren't freshmen, to stand up and say that we refused to do anything for 3 years, I think what you're probably forgetting is there were 2 bills passed off of this floor and they had bipartisan support. But how quick you forgot those. And Senator Marty, I did not hear your bill for 3 years. And I told you yesterday why I did not hear it, and I'm going to tell you again today why I did not hear it. I did not hear it because it's not a solution to the problem. It's a solution looking for more of a problem than an actual solution to the problem. Because you folks refuse to penalize the criminals. Instead of penalizing the criminals, you want to penalize the businesses. And folks, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and Iowa will be getting a lot of our catalytic converters. And if that's what you want, you're going to accomplish it. But you're not going to accomplish the theft of the catalytic converters. And for you folks on the floor today that talked about you had a friend and just recently they got their catalytic converter stolen, I hope tonight you think about how you just did not help them. You did nothing today to solve that problem. You're going to put it all into business, you're going to feel good, and you can talk about the great bill you passed. If you thought this was such a great bill, folks, you would have been willing to accept the amendment that would track some of these thefts. But no, we're not going to do that because that might not be a good idea. I'm going to cut it off there. And members, this is a bad bill, and I would suggest that we do not pass this bill. We go back to the drawing board, bring a bill back that has penalties for the criminals, and let's get something that's really going to work done.
Senator Marty, briefly, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, members, for the debate. Just want to point out to some of the Republican members that the rhetoric about how you're tough on crime doesn't make you tough on crime. Saying that this bill doesn't penalize criminals doesn't make it true, because the bill does. The bill gets every step along the way, the person cutting it off the car, the people they sell it to, the people who are buying it, and everything else. The bill hits every step along the way. Several of you pointed out, including Senator Westrom, that one of the arguments is that the thieves, if they have to get too much hassle here in Minnesota, they're going to bring their stolen property to other states, which I don't doubt. Some of that happens now. Some will continue to happen. But then saying that that's denying Minnesota businesses of legitimate business is kind of bizarre, because they're stolen property. We're trying to get at the fencing operations. Not every scrap dealer is a crook. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying a lot of them are buying property that's stolen. This will enable them to know they're not. And saying that, well, you just guys want to just do something. And doing something isn't necessarily better than doing nothing. Well, yes, that's why we're listening to the experts. Not saying, we should do a study sometime. Not saying, well, we should do this and this and this. As of 2 years ago already, Auto Recyclers Association wrote that they support the International Association of Auto Theft Investigators' 6 policy points for effective catalytic converter anti-theft legislation. And then they go out and name the previous bill number of mine, which is a similar bill to this, meets the requirements of all 6 policy points. They urged the Senate Commerce Chair to drop the stuff they were working on, which they said wouldn't accomplish any of those goals, and to take this. So if you say you trust with law enforcement, with criminal investigators and prosecutors and chiefs of police, what they're saying will work, vote for the bill. If you think you know a lot better than all of them, maybe you can say, oh, this bill doesn't do anything, or this bill doesn't penalize the criminals. You could read the bill and you'd find out it actually does. I urge your support. There's no reason this bill doesn't have 66 green votes, and I urge your support and urge a green vote for the sake of Minnesotans.
The Secretary will take the roll on House File 30 as amended. Senator Kunis, those voting under Rule 40.7.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Deter votes aye on the Marty bill.
Senator Deter votes aye. Members, please vote. The Secretary will close the roll. There being 40 ayes and 25 noes, the bill is passed and the title agreed to.